We're in today with the Radeon HD 5970. This is a 2009 video card with 1600 shaders. It's got 1 GB of VRAM GDDR5, running at 725 MHz on the core clock and 1000 MHz on the memory clock. Today I have two 5970, and here you can see enable 4 GPU. That means it's quad Crossfire or CrossfireX. This video card has got 256 bits bus width, DirectX 11 support, and we're gonna pair it up with this Xeon E5 2699 V4 with 22 cores and 22 threads with hyper-threading disabled. I think this is a fantastic combination. I put today these video cards because I want to benefit from full bandwidth on the video card and see how they are performing. Plus, I got a powerful power supply here, and I want to show you a couple of more things because it's very important to understand how Crossfire is working and why is it more compatible with Windows 7 and Windows XP than Windows 10. Today I want to show you the bugs and how to choose yourself which one is better if you're interested in a Crossfire setup in the future or for a retro machine. This is the most important thing ever, this AMD Catalyst Control Center. Here you can actually see I got 16.2.1 Crimson driver, but the problem is the control panel from that driver doesn't run with this video card. So what have I done? If you go into the setup of the drivers, if you go into the application or the driver folder, you will get apps CCC2 and core static net 4, and you will have the driver from the 15 that was the previous model. I didn't install the drivers because 16 Crimson is better and is very, how shall I say, compatible naturally. It enables Crossfire without nothing. It be straight on. If I just install the drivers, Crossfire is working with Windows 10. But the only problem I have that the control panel doesn't work. Why I need this? Because for instance, in here in Ashes of Singularity, I'll give you an example because I will show you the game how it's performing. You get this AMD Crossfire mode, default mode. This is the most important thing ever for Crossfire. You need this control panel in order to enable default AFR friendly. 1x1 is a mode that forces the video card without any question to run on all of the cores. For instance, if you play a game on default mode and you get, let's say, 60 FPS, but it's only working in one core, and you say, okay, I don't want to play the game with one core because it's hitting up only one core and it will destroy the video card, and I want to split the load on a couple of cores, on all of the cores, then you can use optimize 1x1, but the performance will be half. You understand? That's the problem. And if you put it on 4, nearly 4 will split it. And I will show you an example in Ashes of Singularity because that is fantastic. So what I'm saying here is that this Catalyst Control Center is very important to adjust the video card, adjust the Crossfire in order to get best performance. Here you get AMD Crossfire and you got enable AMD Crossfire. So in Crimson, this is activated by default. Hence why I got in GPU-Z enable 4 GPUs. And if I don't do nothing, and if I don't use enable AMD control center, I can play the games that are designed for Crossfire and there is no problem. I just use MSI the burner, it shows 4 cores, and that's it. This is the problem. And everybody who's asking me why using all operating system, because I need this. Every time I'm coming with Windows 10, it's got a lot of problems. I have to left, right. If I restart the computer, the control panel will not work. I have to come here in this application, remove the application, install it back, and it will work for the moment until I restart the computer or shut it down. It's very important to show you the difference between default mode, 1x1 or compatibility mode, because they are actually interesting. Let's go. This is default mode in Ashes of Singularity. Yes, so if I don't do nothing, I get this performance. So I get only one core that is 99% loaded. I get, very important, this only 1 GB of VRAM utilized here, and I got 326 watts consumption. So there is no bugs. You can actually see, you can play the game. There is literally no problem. I got 1080p with low details, so in order to see how much FPS I can get, and I get 40 FPS on average. Do you think this is a good performance from a video card that is with Crossfire? This is Windows 10, so when I was in Windows 7, by default this video card was working, but there was a couple of glitches on the map. This is why it's important to understand the difference compatibility on the driver. So here you can see on default mode it's not working. On Windows 7 it's working. all of the cores, because I tested only one video card and that's it. All right, let's go with another setting. Now I got optimize 1-on-1, 1x1. Yes, look at the FPS I got now, 16 FPS instead of 50 FPS. I got 16 FPS. You know, like nearly split it in 4 cores, because I think yeah, I got 412 watts consumption and 24% load on the cores. You know, it's not fully loaded, it's just splitted that 99% load in each core. Though it managed to fill up the VRAM, 4 gig of VRAM. This is one advantage on the AMD video cards, ATI video cards. In Crossfire, it's you adding up the VRAM, so this is a fantastic option. Like I said, there is no glitches here, but this is how 1-on-1 is forcing the load on the video cards. You understand? This is not beneficial only for hardware and thermal stress. If you are interested on actually utilizing, let's say you have 200 FPS and you don't want to destroy the video card, and you say I don't want to thermal shock the video card, I will use this in order to spread the load on it. It's splitting the FPS, but at least I got good thermals and I'm not destroying the video card. This is a very interesting performance. Now I'm gonna go with the third option, but I have to warn you that is glitchy. It's like if you have any problems, it's flashy, and yeah, you have to beware. I have to do a warning in this case. AFR friendly. I got each core, it's loaded to 50% load, 4 gig of VRAM utilized. This is the best performance you will get from Crossfire, but because of this incompatibility and the drivers, this is what happens. I'm 100% sure that if I'm using this setup in a Windows 7 or Windows XP, this game will run. It will run without any glitches and everything will be okay. But this is how the game needs to work. Nearly 100 FPS in this situation. But one thing I don't like, in benchmark it shows me only one GPU and it's pissing me off. GTA 5 with this combination, it's utilizing 440 watt consumption. It's on default mode, so passively it's working with Crossfire. I don't have to force it, I don't have to do nothing. I got nearly 90 FPS in this situation, can actually see 100 in some cases. 3.2 gig of VRAM utilized, and he's doing a fantastic job. You can actually see it's being utilized pretty nice, you know. Look at that, 500 watts, I've seen it. Okay, so if it's 130, oh my god, it's actually working really nice, but it's very spiky, you know. Overall performance is great. I put it on normal details because I want to see the maximum FPS here in GTA 5, and I want to see how it's utilizing the core. From here, you can put more details, texture and stuff like that, and you will put more wattage and you get more VRAM utilization. You get 40% load now on the video cards, and I think it will be wise if you can put DirectX 11 or more texture, but I want it as a default as possible, you understand? And I think here even the CPU, it's on the limit, because I think I have to put a couple of cores down in order to get the best one, the best performance. But I realize with 22 cores, with 22 threads, it stays much better, and I should say the spikes are lower than with 8 cores or 12 cores on the CPU. So ideal will be to make it as smooth as possible, but in this situation, look at the graph, how it looks. Looks like a saw, seriously. I like the idea of this, you know. I like that I got Crossfire. The game is not very glitchy. You can actually see there's not a lot of bugs, only in MS Afterburner. But to be fair, in MS Afterburner, even with R9 295 in quad Crossfire, I had the same glitchy thing, you know. So I think you can achieve this with the normal video card. Having quad Crossfire, having this performance, it will be ideal to have a more efficient video card and the same performance, you know, because you know, 500 watts just game in GTA 5 in single player is not something that I would like to use, because 500 watts, come on. The only thing good about this is I'm using solar. You know, and I was like, you're playing again GTA 5 with 500 watts. Yeah, that's a lot of money, seriously. We have to ask the most important question: does it run Crysis? You can actually see with maximum details on this setup, you can put the video cards, you can put the game in such a good position that you get 100 FPS on average. Sometimes it's 70 depending on where you look. If you look in the sky, you get hundreds of FPS. If you look in the ground, you'll get 50 FPS. If you look in the middle, you get around 75 FPS, depending where you look, you know. In this case, with maximum performance here from the VRAM, you can actually see 3,998 megabytes of VRAM. The core is not fully loaded, so we got bottleneck on the VRAM side, you know. In this situation, you can clearly see that the CPU, the system is doing a fantastic job. Theoretically, because I don't know, sometimes it says that I need a higher frequency core in order to run this game properly, but it's working. Whenever I'm aiming, ADSing, apparently I get 40-50 FPS on average with 18 ms. Very weird to see this, but based on the wattage, I will say this is working, you know. It's Crysis, you know, but the question needs to be asked, you know, does it run Crysis? So in this case, I will say it does run Crysis, but I have to choose a setting in such a way that I don't bottleneck something, and in this case is the VRAM. Do I want maximum details? I don't want maximum details? Do I need VSync? I don't need VSync? Those are a couple of questions that you need to put on the table in order to see if you can get the best performance, you know, as an average. Another game that is utilizing this setup properly, it's Mad Max. So I put on normal details the game in order to get 260 FPS, because I want to see how much this video card, how much this setup is powering, you know, how much it's consuming. Look at this, 600 watts. This game is banana, seriously. I remember with the R9 295 we're using 1000 watts. Apparently with 5970s you get 600 watts. All right, let's see what we got here. So I got 58 degrees. That's actually good, considering I got 100% fan speed. Doesn't matter, the AC is on because I want the ambient temperature to be cool, so I get 59 degrees. 59 degrees in a quad Crossfire with 5970s. I will say this is perfect. Doesn't matter, 3.8 gig of VRAM, and I think that if I move outside or walk around, I think I will have even how should I say, more VRAM utilization. But you can clearly see that it's possible, you know. I want the best of the best. I want the best utilization. I want the best temperature. I want the best FPS. Having over 200 FPS and eating 230 watts consumption from this, I will say yes, please. But if we're jumping in metro with this video cards, I mean with video cards, you know, you can actually see on maximum details I get 520 watts consumption. I got on the first core maximum load, the rest of them are around 70-80% loaded with good temperature, but hovering around 60 FPS. I think that if I move around and start looking at it, you will notice that the VRAM in this situation is bottlenecking, you know. The quality is good, fantastic performance overall, you know, there's no problem on scaling and stuff like that, but definitely I would like more FPS. So in this situation, the only thing I can do is distress it with lower quality, you know. In this case, it's doing fantastic, but yeah, I think a little lower on the quality will be beneficial, because look at this, it's a fantastic quality, it's a fantastic performance. This game is awesome. It's got awesome story, you know, so you need at least 60 FPS in order to pass through without any problems, you know. So I like it. I like Metro how it's using this computer. I like how it's utilizing the resource. There's no problem in the Crossfire. Overall performance, I will say it's good, but just a little adjustment in order to be steady with 60 FPS. But if we're jumping with maximum details in Far Cry with this configuration, you can actually see that the system is doing a fantastic job, and I like it. Maximum quality, looks gorgeous. I got 3 out of 4 cores, but I'll take it, you know. Maybe after a restart it will work, and maybe after some tweaking it will work. I don't know. 3 out of 4 is good. In this situation, you can clearly see that something is wrong, because the first video card has got 60 degrees and the second one is got 45 with 48. You can notice that is in some occasion the core is coming alive, you know, and it's being utilized. But overall performance is great, you know. I can say nothing, because the quality is great. There's no bugs. Everything looks okay. Hundreds of FPS. The system on the other hand is doing fantastic. I got like 50% load on the CPU. It's very interesting, seriously, because this CPU CPU is with 22 cores, and if I'm using 50% of the CPU, that means that the game is utilizing the CPU properly. Plus I got 530 watts consumption from the wall. Overall performance is great, the quality is great, everything is just honky donkey with this one. Seriously, this is one game that is utilizing the system properly. 30% load on the cores, not stressing the video card, not at all. When it comes to a video card like this, the temperature is very crucial, you know, because if you're not stressing the video card, if the temperature is good, then you lock the FPS, you turn off the fan speed and you leave it on auto, you can actually enjoy the game without feeling like you're vacuum cleaning the room. Seriously, 3.1 gig of VRAM, so it's utilizing the VRAM from the video card. That means it's fantastic because this is 1080p with maximum details. You know, you can actually see the game looks fantastic. You know, it's giving you the details, it's giving you the experience. The VRAM is getting higher, and I think around 3.4 it will reach. I don't know, maybe something like that, but you can actually see it managed to go 3.2. The moment that you start going around, looking at the map, interacting with it, then you will utilize, I think, more VRAM. But in this case, it's still available until 4 gig of VRAM to utilize, so there is room. On the core side, there is no problem. The temperature is good, 60 FPS is constant because this is the game limitation, and it got 430 watts consumption overall. The system doesn't have any problem. 8.2 gig of system RAM with 20% load on the CPU, zero problems, and I got an overall 16 ms on the graph. You know, that is actually fantastic. Apparently this game is doing fantastic. I'm actually surprised that it's working really nice with Crossfire. I didn't thought it was working, you know. I just by mistake I was like, does it run with Crossfire or SLI? Doesn't matter. I got maximum details on 1080p, and you can actually see it's using 1.2 gig of VRAM, 50% maximum load on the core. It looks okay, you know. It's actually fantastic. For me, it's about glitches. If it's running really nice, or the cores utilize equally, in this case perfectly utilized, so there is no problem when it comes to this type of performance. I will not recommend a system like this because it's very non-efficient. Over 600 watts consumption from two video cards like this in Crossfire, so you can get that amount of FPS. I'm 100% sure you can get that efficiency really down with a brand new video card, you know, like with a mid-range video card that is launched today, can benefit from similar performance and better wattage. I think that this is a setup only for enthusiasts, if for collection, and that's it. If you're interested in that, I think this is one of those situations that allows you to get this type of setup with less money because it's still affordable. You can get the video cards like 5970, they are still affordable and they are not very expensive, you know, they are not very rare items. I do recommend for enthusiast level to get this type of setup, but not with Windows 10. That's it. I think Windows XP or Windows 7 will be much better in this situation. All in all, I like the video card, I like the setup, I like both of the video card, how we managed to run today. And yeah, if you have any suggestion in the future or for the system itself, leave a comment and I will see you very soon.